and a very warm welcome to this special two back-to-back nights, two back-to-back thrillers. Two favorite teams were beaten by their opponents who were better on the night. I'm joined here by Abhishek Paul, but what an absolutely brilliant semi-final we witnessed last night between Pakistan and Australia. And yet again, like we saw in the semi-final that New Zealand played against England, there was really, after the 17th over, that things just completely turned on its head.
I mean, there were so many unlikely heroes, in both the semi-finals. It just shows the beauty of this sport, right? I mean, numbers and stats aside, nobody picked, Matthew Wade, Marcus Stoinis to be the heroes, even Jimmy Neesham and Daryl Mitchell. Yeah. In fact, a couple of them's place in the squad, in the 11 was being questioned. Matthew Wade, he hadn't really batted that well. Marcus Stoinis, he did not get to bat in the last two matches. And then he comes and wins the match. Yeah, unlikely heroes there. Shubhayan Chakravarti also joins us from Dubai. Shubhayan, Matthew Wade and Marcus Stoinis, they've done this for their teams in league cricket, but as openers. They were untested as finishers, especially for Matthew Wade. I know that Marcus Stoinis has done this for the Delhi franchise, but for these two, they knew that the tale was going to begin if they lose another wicket from there on. But an absolutely brilliant performance. I think they needed, 62 in the last 5 overs. And Shaheen Shah Afridi, who started off with that brilliant spell, then getting tonked for 3 sixes in the 19th over. I mean, who could have imagined this kind of a script in the second semi-final as well?
One staggering stat, Matthew Wade is a very underrated player. He has done it in BBL while opening, but no one has a better strike rate than Matthew Wade in the entire world when it comes to facing pace bowling. And he struck those 3 sixes against the best pace bowling department, arguably the best pace bowling department in this T20 World Cup. He has a strike rate of more than 200, if I'm not wrong, against pace bowlers in the last 3-4 years. So yeah, that's it. He waited for his chance. He waited. He knew that Shaheen Afridi is going to go for those Yorkers. And before that day, on the eve of the match, Matthew Wade was practicing some lap shots, some scoops. He even in the post-match press conference, he did say that it was preempted. He had earlier thought about it, that he would go for those lap shots, given the fact that fine leg was up and third man was up. So yeah, it came out pretty well, and good on Matthew Wade, because he has been criticized a lot. His position was questioned why an opener has been drafted in as a finisher in the squad. And before the tournament, even Aaron Finch was asked about it, and he said that let's wait and see whether the perception change after the T20 World Cup.
And the perception has changed completely. He is the newfound hero for Australia. But you're right about Matthew Wade and his performance in the Big Bash League. 1,167 runs in 29 innings since 2018. He is in that top 3 performers in the tournament. So he's been brilliant. But as we've been saying, as an opener, as a finisher, uncharted territory really for him. But what better way than to play a match-winning cameo in a match, in a semi-final match like this?
Yeah, after the semi-final, win, he accepted that had it not been for this performance, his international career would have been over, because at 33, he's kind of approaching that fag end of his career. Yes. And there are so many young wicketkeeper batters that are coming up from the junior ranks. So again, like such an unlikely hero, and it's like, Kamit Dar, Kamit Dam, and I think that statement holds true for Matthew Wade.
Okay, let's also listen into what Matthew Wade had to say in the post-match press conference as to what was the turning point. Interestingly, he thinks it wasn't him.
Yeah, there was a little bit of dew out there, I think. You may have to ask the Pakistani fielders a little bit more about that, but it felt like the dew was coming in a little bit. The wicket played really, really well. So, yeah, we're confident that we kept the total to something that we could definitely chase. We're probably hoping, under the 160 mark, but they got going towards the back end and stretched that total out a little bit. So, Yeah, we're confident, but then we lose our captain first over. You start to chase your tail a little bit. So David Warner's innings was terrific as well to guide us to somewhere where we could launch at the back end. But yeah, we're pretty confident we can get them. I don't think any of them were the turning points to the match. I think the way Marcus Stoinis batted at the end, to be honest, was probably the turning point of the match. I think when I came out there, and he might have hit the spinner for a 6 first ball that I got out there, I think that kind of a play, in my eyes, is really gutsy, and those decisions that you make out in the middle win your games. I mean, he could have easily blocked that ball. He went for it, hit a 6, and then that total comes down a little bit more. But I think the turning point of the game, I thought, was Marcus's over against Ralph. I thought that kind of swung the momentum our way and gave us a little bit of an opportunity to win the game. I don't think.
Shubhayan, two things were completely clear in the two semi-finals that we've watched. One being that toss is still such a crucial factor. And yet again, I think when ICC sits down to look back on this tournament, that will be something that they will consider looking ahead at the future tournaments. Because I think once again, that proved the toss just sort of skews the balance in the favor of the team that is chasing. Number two, that T20 is a game of small margins. We saw that in both the semi-finals, just in the last 3 overs. I mean, you couldn't have faulted Pakistan before that 17th over. A couple of things here and there, but you know, I think it was really that 17th over onwards that things changed for Pakistan as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you know, this is where ICC has to do some hard work there, because either they can produce some cracking matches and get the toss out of the equation, take the dew out of the equation, or you know, go on and keep on targeting those cream of Indian audience, Indian viewers of the television. So I think they have to figure out a way to balance these things out, because you know, even though there was not much dew yesterday, it still got easier to bat on in the second innings, and obviously we have seen that in 50 over 20 over matches as well. The lights, it gets easier to bat on under lights, and that is where things, you know, changed heavily. And credit to Australia, credit to Marcus Stoinis and Matthew Wade, the way they hung around, they waited for the Pacers to come on onto the game again, because we know both Marcus Stoinis and Matthew Wade, they are not great players of spin, and that is where the surprising factor came in, that you know, Imad Wasim didn't complete his 4 over quota, and that was pretty much surprising, because Matthew Wade and Marcus Stoinis are not very good players of the spin, but they are excellent hitters against hard pace, against good pace, and we all know how quick Haris Rauf, how quick Shaheen Shah Afridi is with the ball, and they picked, they waited for their moment and they picked the spot, and with even with slight dew, there's very less margin for error for any bowler, be it Jasprit Bumrah or be it Shaheen Shah Afridi. You miss the spot, you will get hit. We saw with how Josh Hazelwood was stomped all over the park because he kept on missing those Yorker length. He kept on missing those length deliveries where he has been so good in the tournament. But you miss, and I hit. That's the game T20 cricket is now.
Yeah, but hindsight is 2020, Abhishek. Just the way Shaheen Shah Afridi had bowled the first 2 overs of the semi-final, you felt that you would want to get him back. I mean, when he bowled those overs, he looked like taking a wicket every single ball, and I think that's why Babar Azam gave him the ball and said, you know what, do the job for us, get them out. Some days it works, some days it doesn't, but that's why cricket is such a great leveler. He was the same guy who got Aaron Finch out, the Golden Duck, 1 for 1, right? Right in the beginning of the innings, the Australian innings, and you felt, wow.
I think Babar Azam can't be faulted for, you know, I mean, I get Shubhayan's point, but, you know, in the earlier match, in the earlier semi-final, Adil Rashid bowled the 18th over and he got smacked. So, I think that was the basic logic. He's our best bowler. In 3 overs, he gave just 14 runs. I think it's the 19th over that decided the match. I mean, not just for for this innings, for Australia's innings, for Pakistan's also. I mean, 19th over, Pat Cummins comes in and gives only 3 runs. Matthew hadn't mentioned this, that it's not the last over. It's the second last over which decides the course of a match, and it happened yet again.
It did. Okay, let's also listen into what Matthew Wade had to say about Shaheen Shah Afridi's over, where he hit him for 3 sixes.
Yeah, we didn't really target him, to be honest. Marcus Stoinis played a terrific innings, I thought, to be able to get it to a total that we started to think would or could be chaseable towards the end there. So I think the way he played freed me up to be able to do what I did at the end there. Obviously, I was hitting to a bit of a longer boundary to him, but we felt like the left arm, his slow balls were going to spin into me, so I thought that I would target him a little bit more, I suppose, in that over, given that I thought if Marcus was there in the last over that it would give us a good chance to win the game. If Ralph bowled the last over, he did really well off him, the previous over that he'd faced off him. So that was kind of our thinking. We certainly didn't go into the game targeting him. He was a terrific bowler, and I just got lucky tonight, I suppose.
Let's also talk a little bit about David Warner coming into this tournament, Shobhayan. You know, we've talked about this earlier as well as to how he was treated by Sunrisers Hyderabad. Captaincy being taken away, then dropped from the team. Really going through a lean patch, mentally struggling, but you know, just the way he's come good in this tournament. And again, in the semi-final, we know David Warner can be a big match player, but it was really him who set up the chase for the likes of Matthew Wade and Marcus Stoinis to come and then finish it off in style.
Absolutely, super happy for David Warner. You know, it was the first post-match press conference of Australia. I had attended that in person, and I when asking my first question, I said to Warner that, you know, you are not out of form, you are just short of runs, and he gave a cheeky smile and said thank you, and you know, these are big match players. These are match winners, and he has done it for so many years, be it for Sunrisers Hyderabad or be it for Australia. And he is be it David Warner, be it Steve Smith, be it Aaron Finch. These are the backbones of this Australian team across format. Aaron Finch doesn't play Test cricket now, but these are the backbones of your playing 11, of your batting unit. And David Warner, the way he came into business from the word go despite losing Aaron Finch. He stitched a very important partnership with Mitchell Marsh in the power play. They kept on, keeping up with the run rate, asking run rate, and striking at 140, 150. Again, David Warner proved why he is the big match player for Australia. And even though he did have a bit of a brain fade with by not taking that DRS. But again, that innings proved to be crucial. But Neha, before you shift to other thing, I personally am so happy for Matthew Wade, because at 16 he was diagnosed with testicular cancer. He overcame it, and for all our viewers, I just want to give a bit of trivia. Matthew Wade is colorblind. So you know all the challenges and all the struggles.
My goodness.
Pretty happy for him.
Absolutely. Yeah. And to talk about David Warner as well, Matthew Wade, this is what he had to say about David Warner's performance. Listen in.
Yeah, we haven't had too much time to chat about it, just passing comments. It's a really hard one with the DRS. I think there was a noise. He wasn't sure, like maybe his bat handle clicked or his hand on his bat. He didn't think that he hit it, but I think Glenn at the other end heard the noise, and to be fair, the bat was out there. That was the only thing that it maybe could have been, so he was potentially thinking that he might have hit it. It's really tough in those situations. How many times do you see a batter think that they haven't hit it, and they have? So, you know, you need a little bit of reassurance from the other end, I suppose. That's not having to go at Maxi. Maxi heard a noise, and his bat's out there, so yeah, hopefully something like that doesn't happen in the next match, but we've just got to work it out. The thing is, you get 2 in this format, so hindsight would say that we should have used it, but it's the way it goes.
Well, that left all of us scratching our heads because, I mean, Warner just walked away, and it felt like he was sure that he had nicked it. But now from what we get to hear from Matthew Wade is that it was Glenn Maxwell at the other end who said that he heard a noise. And sometimes, you know, the bat clicks and that makes a noise, and maybe that's the reason. But it's interesting because Ian Bishop was talking about this in the commentary, Abhishek, where he said that, you know, sometimes, he's been saying it for a while, that sometimes batsmen do not realize whether they've nicked it or not. That's why a lot of times we see batsmen, after having nicked the ball, ask for the DRS, convinced that they'd not nicked it. But we've got to spare a thought for Pakistan, just because of how brilliant they've been throughout the tournament, what Rizwan went through. You know, that Matthew Hayden also talked about. You know, he was admitted in the hospital.
He came back
they
from
were
a
just
flu
absolutely heartbroken.
I mean, he came back from a flu. He was battling flu last night, and then came in and scored brilliant half century, and he is the first batter to score 1,000 T20I runs in a calendar year. His and Babar Azam's partnership was the bedrock of the Pakistan's innings. Though I think Babar Azam could have played it faster. 34 ball, 39. I understand his logic. He might have wanted to play that anchor role, play towards the end. But we have seen this trend, emerge from this World Cup, that it doesn't really help if you hold your wickets. You should attack. For a caliber of batsman that Babar Azam is, I think he should have attacked more. Of course, their partnership was well. Shadab Khan, a special mention of Shadab Khan as well, because at crucial junctures he took
kept taking wickets.
So many wickets. I mean, not just wickets. He took Glenn Maxwell. He took David Warner. I mean, brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. 4 for 26 from Shadab Khan. Just a quick reaction also on Hassan Ali. Shubhan, from you before we say goodbye. Yes, he's really been seen as the villain now for this match that Pakistan lost. And I think one has to understand that it's players who make mistakes, because it was Hassan Ali who's been the second highest wicket taker for Pakistan since 2016 in T20 internationals. So, things sometimes go wrong, things don't go your way, and that's how life is.
Yeah, absolutely. As you said earlier in the show, it is a game of small margins, and you just can't blame a player on a particular player. It could be due to Babar Azam's slow knock. Not taking risk is a higher risk in T20 cricket right now. So these are small margins that can change the game. Although Matthew Witt did say that they had almost crossed the line, even if Hassan Ali had taken that catch. So at that point, I think the game was almost over for Pakistan. And even Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, these guys can hit good sixes, and the pitch was pretty good to bat on by then. But not to blame Hassan Ali, who has done so well for Pakistan, is just not done. And I've seen some criticism on social media. Some of the Pakistani fans that were outside the stadium waiting for their cabs and everything, they were also saying that Hassan Ali ने मैच हरा दिया, कैच छोड़ के बर्बाद कर दिया. नहीं.
At the end of the
हसन अली ने आप इस स्टेज में पहुंचे हो, हसन अली का बहुत क्रूशियल रोल है उसमें.
बिल्कुल, उन्होंने आपको दूसरे मैचेस में भी जिताया है. कोई बात नहीं, एक मैच उन्होंने हरा दिया है. But we leave you with this bite from Babar Azam, where he's clearly stating the importance of Hassan Ali in this team. Thank you so much, Shubhayan, for joining us. Nikhil, Abhishek here as well. Nikhil's off today, so Abhishek joins us here. I'm so used to Nikhil being here, but thank you so much, guys. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.
पहले तो थैंक यू सो मच, और दूसरा ये कि बिल्कुल ऐसा मुझे नहीं फील हो रहा, क्योंकि मेरा वो मेन बॉलर है और उसने काफ़ी मैचेस जिताए हैं पाकिस्तान को. बिल्कुल प्लेयरों से ही कैच छूटते हैं, और जिस तरह वो फाइट कर रहा है बिल्कुल मैं उसको बैक करूँगा, क्योंकि हमारा वो मेन बॉलर है और हमेशा उसने मैच जिताया. देखें, कोई हर एक बंदा परफॉर्म नहीं करता, इंडिविजुअल और जिसका ऑन द डे दिन होता है वो परफॉर्म करता है, और कोशिश करते हैं कि जिसका दिन हो वो परफॉर्म करे. और बिल्कुल थोड़ा सा डाउन है, लेकिन कोशिश यही करेंगे इसको जितना उठाएं, जितना कॉन्फिडेंस दें. लोगों का काम है बातें करना, हमारा काम है उनको उठाना.